Good morning, class 7. Today I'll be teaching you about the formulas and functions in Excel, which is one of the chapter of the final exams. So in your maths classes, you have already learnt about how to work with formulas. Formulas in Excel also have the same meaning as in maths. But in Excel, they are written in a different way. Okay, so in Excel, we are going to write the formulas, but the important thing will be that we are going to put equal to sign before every formula. So let's move ahead. So in maths, as you use formulas to solve mathematical equations, to solve statistical and financial functions, to add format text, the same way in Excel also you are going to do all these jobs, but slightly in a different way. Now, as I told you what formula is, very important thing, you should know what formula is. So a formula in Excel is a sequence of values, cell references, functions and operators which are stored into a cell and they produce a new value from the existing values. So let's understand the four elements of the formula. So first one, as I said, is a value. The values are the numerics value, or they can be a string value. String means the characters. Okay, the words, the letters, these are string values. Then cell reference is another element of the formula. The cell reference is the address of the cell on which particular cell you want to apply the formula. Then comes the functions. What function do you want to apply? That means whether you want to calculate sum, or you want to calculate the average, or you want to calculate the product, and so on. And operators will be the symbols, the mathematical symbol which you want to use in those formulas. So all the formulas, as I said, will begin with equal to sign. Data that is stored in the worksheet and that needs to be used in the formula is referenced using cell address. That's what I said just now, cell reference. The example you can see here, if I write A1 plus A2 divided by A3 minus A4. Now here A1, A2, A3, A4 are the cell references. Plus, divide and minus are the operators. And we have made use of no functions here. So I'm making my own function. So cell reference is used and the operators is used, and the values will be the one which are fitted in the cell mentioned here. You can see the example of this simple formula, B4 plus C4. Now B4 and C4 are the cell references. Children, please make a note of all these things. Cell references. Reference means from where are you picking up the value. So in Excel, every cell has an address. So that address will be called here as cell reference, and the values in those cells will be the actual values on which operation is to be performed. So plus sign is an arithmetic operator, and equal to tells the computer that this is a formula, not an expression. Right? Now let's come to the next term, that is called functions. So functions are some predefined formulas which are already made in Excel, and you can directly use them by writing their name. Alright, so like if I have the formula, if I make my formula myself, I'll write it as A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus A5 when I want to add 5 values in the given cells. But if I want to use an inbuilt function for this, I simply need to write sum, that is the name of the function, bracket A1 colon A5. So A1 is the first cell from where I want to start the addition, and A5 is the last cell till where I want to add. So colon in between the two cell address indicates the range. From A1 to A5 I want to add. That's why we have put a colon here instead of writing A1 plus A2 plus A3. We can even write it like that. We can write in the formula also in the sum function, sum bracket A1 comma A2 comma A3 comma A4 comma A5 instead of writing A1 colon A5. So whatever method suits to you, whatever is convenient for you, you can use that one. So you can see this is an example of a complex formula. As I showed you in the very first slide. In this formula you can see we have used B4 plus 25 divided by sum D5 colon F5. Now let me explain you this formula. B4, D5, F5, these all are the cell references. But there's a difference between B4 plus 25 and D5 colon F5. B4 is a cell reference where in the value which is in the cell B4, in that value we are adding 25 more. So 25 is a constant value, so hence it will be called as numeric constant. Now both these values are to be added first and then they are to be divided. Now they are to be divided by what? By another value which we will get from the formula sum. So you can see we have used the inbuilt function sum here, D5 to F5. Now here we need a sum of the values which are filled in D5 to F5. So we are calling it as a range reference, not the cell address. Range is always we written in the form of brackets. They're enclosed with the brackets and they're separated by the colon. I hope I've made this clear. So let's move on to next slide. Now this is a formula. Now you have to notice here that the formula is beginning with equal to and then a bracket. 3 into, we can see we have used a sign here before the cell reference, that is dollar sign. Dollar sign is used when we want to fix up the value which is in the cell A2 and only that value we want to multiply with the other references given in the formula. So what will this formula be interpreted as? 3 multiplied by value only in the cell given A2 multiplied by sum, and now sum is from which range? From A3 to A9. Whatever values are filled in from A3 to A9, those values are to be added and are to be multiplied with A2 and 3. Once you solve this formula, then everything has to be. Now this next symbol is exponent symbol, that is cube root. Cube root of whatever will come as an output has to be calculated. So in this formula, this formula is beyond your scope to understand, but I've used it to explain all kind of things used in the formula. So it always begin with equal to. It has constant, that is 3. It has cell reference, that is A3 to A9 and A2. It has operators like multiplication and exponential, and we have used an inbuilt function, that is sum. So all 4-5 operators have been used here. Alright, now what is constant? Constants are the values which are entered directly into the formula. Means these are the fixed values. As in the previous example I showed you, the 3 was a constant, means whatever function, whatever formula you apply and you drag, always the 3 will remain as 3. Now these values can be simple, these values can be accurate, and these values can be inflexible. Means whatever value I'm going to use, that will be a number. Obviously constants are number. It will be accurate, that will be fixed number, no changes will be done in that. And inflexible, that is no formula will have effect on these values. So examples you can see 2, 3, 12, 14.32, these all are the examples of constant. Even decimal numbers can be constant, but they should be numeric values. Then comes the reference. This word I have been using since long. Reference. So reference here means the address which identifies a cell or a range of cell in a worksheet. It tells Excel where to look for the values or data you want to use in a formula. A range of cells is referenced using colon. As I told you, you have to write colon in between. But if you are using a single cell, then only the alphabet of the column and the number of the row is enough. As you can see in the example, A1, this is also a cell reference, it's a single cell. C18 is also a single cell. And ZZ, as I told you that Excel sheet can go to any extent, it's a big except D is the last column. So at ZZ is also a column in between, and 65536 is a row number. So these are the references which we are going to use in the formula. Then comes the operators. See, an operator in Excel is a symbol that tells Excel to perform specific operation. The main mathematical operators are allowed in Excel formula are like exponent, as I showed you in the previous example. Alright, so next operators are like arithmetic operators. They are negative, that is minus, plus, and this you can see the percentage sign. This sign is used for calculation of modulus. Modulus means remainder. If I divide 4 by 2, my quotient division output will be 2, but my remainder will be 0. Then as I told you, exponent is there, and you have divide and multiply. Multiplication is shown with the help of asterisk and division is shown with the help of slash. We also have comparison operators. They are like less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, not equal to. The last one is not equal to. Then we have text. For text also we have one operator, that is ampersand. It's also called as and in the normal language. This is used to concatenate two words. Suppose I want to write a word, my name is Nidhi, and then I want Sethi along with that, so I can use this and operator between them. The output will be Nidhi Sethi without any space. Then as I told you, references are separated with the help of colon. Some places you will find the references are separated with the help of comma also and space also. In some functions, inbuilt functions, we take the input of the reference, formula reference, by separated by the commas. Like as I told you, you can write in the formula of sum a1 comma a2 comma a3, or you can write a1 colon a3. Now, very important feature, how to copy the formula. Copy the formula is very important because at many places in your Excel sheet, developing of Excel sheet, you will find that you need to reuse the formula again and again. So it's not possible to write formula for every cell. This I have told you in my class also while teaching, that formulas can be dragged. Drag means the rest of the columns where we are dragging this formula, in those cells the formula is being copied. So this feature is known as autofill. So we can say autofill is a command you can use when you want to copy the same formula across a range of adjacent cells. Autofill will automatically change the cell address depending upon where the new formula is being copied. So this is the definition of autofill. And I would also like to tell you one more thing about autofill, that when you autofill the formula, the address keeps changing. That is like suppose you apply the formula on a1 multiplied by 2. When you drag it down, every time multiply by 2 will remain same, but what will change? a1 will change to a2, a3, a4 and so on. That is why the formula is applicable to all the cells. Right? So for autofill we have some more options like fill series also is there, fill formatting also is there. That is beyond the scope of a book. Now you can see that as I showed you in the previous slide also, the simple formula. So this is a simple formula example. And now here comes the various functions which are inbuilt, available in Excel to be used directly. For these you do not need to create your own formula. They are already existing. So maths and trigonometric formula is there, but in your book it is only some function given in the maths category. So I am just giving that only. Sum, it totals all numbers in a range or in a list of values. Text has a value of 0. If you want to add two text, that will give you the answer as 0 because text cannot be added. You can combine two texts by the help of AND operator, which I showed you in the previous slide. So sum function will add up all the values which are given inside the bracket. Now just in the previous example I showed you that values can be a1 colon a5. That is from a1 to a5 we want to add the values. Or we can also write it like this: a1 comma a2 comma a3 comma a4 and so on. Right, now next category comes statistical functions. So for that we have count, average, maximum, minimum. Count tells us about how many numbers are there in a given range. It does not include the text. Like suppose you fill 10 cells with numbers and 1 cell with the text. And if you select the entire range and you apply a count formula in it, it will give you the answer as 10 because all the 10 cells are filled up with the numbers and 1 cell is filled up with the text. Then average is like normal mathematical function. Whatever values are given in the cell, it will find the average of all those values and give the output in the selected cell. Maximum cell function is going to find the largest value out of given range. Like in a range, suppose select a range from one place to another place, Now in that range, whichever is the highest number, that will be reflected in the last cell where the formula is applied. Same way, minimum, it finds the smallest value from the given range and fills up the answer in the last cell where the formula is applied. Now children, you have to make one note here, that maximum and minimum do not include the blank spaces and do not include the texts. If you have some blank space in between, any cell is left blank, so that will not be included in the function max and minimum. Then date. Date is also a commonly used function. It is used to present the current date of the, so if I apply the formula today, the today's date will be reflected. So it's calculate the date value as like in the format year, month and date. And now, next function is now. Now will display the current date and time both. Today will only display the current date, today's date. Now children, one thing I would like to tell you here, that these functions date, now and today, they are not only meant for representing current date and time, they are also meant for calculation. If I want to know that what is my age today, how many years, days I have lived till date, so I will write my date of birth and I'll write today's date minus my date of birth. So it's going to give me the number of days I have lived till now.